Hello class, let's begin with our economics chapter 3, money and credit. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the how money was invented, how this money became exchange value, or money became what we say the medium of exchange that we are going to learn in this chapter. Earlier, what was the what is barter system? What are coincidence of bonds and the medium of exchange? How money became the medium of exchange? Then loan activities of bank, different credit situation, terms of credit, modern forms of money, formal and informal sector of credit in our country. So these are the some of the topics or some of the contents which we are going to learn in this chapter. Right? So let's begin. You have probably never thought very much about money. It is just there, right? When you want or need something, you simply collect some money and pay for it. That wasn't always the way things were then. So would you not like to know about how money has come? Why should we study about money? So here, what is the importance of money? Whenever we want anything in our life, any material things in our life, for example, clothes, food, shoes, books, anything, we have to give an exchange of that item. And that medium of exchange is our money. Right? If you want to borrow from someone, if you want to save, you want to donate, we spend, we lend, we earn, all these things, our mean is money. Right? To earn economic wealth, managing money is no way less important than earning. We are earning money and how to manage that money and how to use it properly in our life. That is very important, right? Investments, savings, expenditure, all these things, they are dealing with money. So the major learning objectives are, which we are going to learn in this chapter, is related to different phases of evaluation of money, functions, features of money, various modern forms of money, bank and its basic functions. We are going to learn about credit, terms of credit, sources of credit. We are going to learn about role of cooperative and SHGs. SHGs means self-help groups. Self-help groups in capital formation. So these are the main things what we are going to learn in this chapter. Yeah. Now, how did money evolve? How did money came as a matter in front of us as a medium of exchange? What was the history? So that we are going to learn here. In the primitive age, that means ancient times earlier, the need of people were very limited, right? People by themselves collected everything like food to eat and skin of animals and plants to bear. So all these things they used to get in the resources nearby. That time they didn't had any kind of luxuries, no vehicles, no internet, no electronic items, nothing was there. Everything they used to get it from the nature itself. So there was no need of exchange and money. Then, as slowly after primitive age, when the growth of civilization started happening, the needs of people also started increasing. Right? No more people can wear clothes made of plants and animal skins. It's not that big development is there. Without development, how can we live in this country or how can we live in this world? Development is needed everywhere. So for that development, for our growth, our needs, our wants started increasing. So people who were expert in producing some goods, they started taking it as a profession. That means if a person is very good at collecting firewood, and earlier as firewood was needed everywhere in each and every house, So if anybody wants firewood, they will just go, and if they want to collect it from him, they have to give him something in return for that. Right? For example, if they are having rice with them, or if they are having oats with them, or if they are having wheat with them, any eatable item or any furniture type item, anything if they have, they can exchange. If anybody is good at making coats, for them exchanging something with somebody else. So a person who was expert in producing some goods or finding out some goods, they started taking it as a profession, right? And they started collecting other goods that they need from other producer in exchange of the goods produced by them. That means, as I told you earlier, if it's a porter or a man who wants to sell his clothes, and he is selling his clothes, in exchange of that, he may take, if other person is having some cattle with them, or if the person is having any equipment which will be helpful for the porter, or if he is having any eatable item that is needed by the porter. So he will exchange his clothes for that goods from the other person, or any other items which he needs from for making his goods from the other producer. So here you can see the example. A person making stone tools gives the tools to a hunter and gets meat against the tool. A hunter is there, he needs tools. So a person who can make proper stone tool, he is selling it to the hunter, and in exchange of that, the hunter is giving him meat. The hunter is giving him food, so that he can take it home, and with his family he can share the food. So this way, exchange of things used to happen, and that type of system was known as barter system. Clear? The system of direct exchange, in which commodities are exchanged for some other commodity without using any medium of exchange. Now here there was no money. Money was not involved here. Here commodities and commodities were exchanged between them. So this exchange of commodities were known as barter system. Now what are the features of barter? It is the oldest exchange system. Goods or services are exchanged for other goods or services directly. There was no common measure of value. No money or other medium of exchange was used. Double coincidence of bonds is an essence of barter system. That means double coincidence was a main thing what used to take place in barter system. And now what is the meaning of double coincidence of bonds? That means in exchange of goods, both the parties have to agree to sell and buy each other's commodity. In a barter system, double coincidence of bond is considered as an essential feature, because if I want any commodity from that other person, then only I will sell my commodity, or I will take other person's commodity. If I don't want that commodity from him, I will not go to that seller. I will go to somebody else. So double coincidence was of a very much high in need. That means if I am having wheat with me, and instead of wheat, I want some stone tools from somebody. So I will not go to a person who is selling clothes, or I will not go to a person who is selling apple or fruits. I will go to a person who is selling stone tools. And then if that person needs wheat from me, then only he will agree to sell his product. Are you getting it? Double coincidence should be there. That means both the buyer and seller, they should agree to sell and buy each other's products. It is not that if I want a stone tool, I go to that producer and then I will tell that just take the wheat and give the stone tool. If he don't want the wheat, then there will be no transaction taking place. And I have to find out a person who needs wheat instead of that, and to get the stone tools. So this kind of problem also used to happen in barter system because of double coincidence of bonds. It is a direct exchange system, and therefore needs could be satisfied immediately. No medium of exchange is required. No transaction financial time is required, which helps the people to avoid the risk of changing value over time. These are some of the advantages of barter, that immediately our needs were satisfied and there was no need of any kind of medium of exchange. Now, as I told you earlier, there are limitations of barter also. Main thing is need of double coincidence of wants. That means if there is a producer who wants my commodity, then only I can sell my commodity to him and he can or she can give their commodity to me. So double coincidence plays an essential role in barter system. Lack of standard measure of value, problem of visibility, problem in storing value, problem of transferring value, deferred payment was not possible. That means any kind of standard measure of value was not there. For example, if I want 2 to 3 stone tools from a person and I can't, what to say, measure or I can't exactly say how much wheat I have to give to that person. He may ask for 1 kg or he may ask for 2 kg, he may ask for 3 kg. That is up to the buyer, right? So here, or that is up to the seller. So here, lack of standard measure of value was there. Storing value was also a problem here because money we can store with us, but the things, the equipments, if we store, some equipments or some commodities are there which get destroyed very fast, and that time it's going to create a problem for the person. So these are some of the limitations of barter. As I told, this is an example of need of double coincidence of want. You can see the example here. Problem of Ramvilas. He is a potter, makes pots and wanted to exchange his pots for some clothes. He visited all nearby cloth makers, but none of them were ready to give the clothes in exchange of his pots. They want something different against their clothes. So, did you understand the meaning of double coincidence? The situation where double coincidence is creating a problem for barter system. The thing is, if the seller needs my commodity, then only I can sell and get my commodity from the seller. If you don't want that commodity, then how can I buy whatever I want? So when this problem started happening in double coincidence of wants and barter system, slowly there arose a need of medium of exchange where nobody can refuse to take the medium of exchange and it will be universally acceptable. It will be acceptable everywhere. And that's how we got our commodity money. The most primitive type of money is commodity money. Some useful commodity that is in general demand is used as an exchange medium and may serve both as a means of payment and measure of value. That means some of the commodities. Examples are given here. Some of the commodities are kept as the value. It will be acceptable by everyone around the world or around the country or around the state or whatever. So there are some of this commodity money, for example, cattle, arrows, slave, animal skin, onion, sugar, grains, metals, tobacco, shells, hides. So these all were considered as commodity money. That means nobody can say no to collect this commodity money from anybody. They have to collect it and give whatever the other person wants. But the transaction is still essentially a barter trade of one good or service for another good. But still there were some problems which were happening in the barter system. The limitations were same. Need of double coincidence of wants, lack of standard measure of value, storing value, transferring value, deferred payment is not possible. Still there were people who were not able to accept this commodity money as the main money or can consider it as a standard measure of value. Next is cattle money. So To overcome the problem of transfer of value with commodity money, people started using cattle as money. Domestic animals having common utility were used as medium of exchange. These animals were known as cattle money. As earlier we have learned about commodity money, same way a new money was brought into the market that was considered as cattle money, that means exchanging of domestic animals, and domestic animals were considered as medium of exchange, and this was known as cattle money. Next, now there were limitations with cattle money also, as saying need of double coincidence of bonds, lack of standard measure of value, problem in storing value, problem of transferring value, and problem of divisibility. So same with barter system, same with commodity money, and same with cattle money. Now what is metallic money? So from metallic money we will be seeing in the next session.